All right, y'all, I am so excited to share with you about my journey with therapy, how I started, why I started, and hopefully this can give you some insight. I always say if you've been thinking about it, you need to do it. But I wanted to share a little bit about my story, how I came to this place, because I think just even talking about therapy makes it more open to others giving it a try and embracing it as part of the work that you do on yourself as a human. So, you guys might not know this, but as a coach for almost 6 years now, one of the things that has helped me tremendously as a woman, as a sister, as a friend, as a spouse, I have embraced one of the main vital behaviors of being a coach and being a part of Team Beachbody is personal development. And it's something that's very hard to show y'all, except if you scrolled back in my social media 5 years ago, the post would look completely different. I would not have the confidence that I do today. I would not have the energy and optimism and happiness and fulfillment and tools to overcome things faster, right? Like I still am sad. I'm still a human. I still get very disappointed. I'm a Pisces. I'm emotional to a T. But I learned through developing a team and becoming a leader and going to different events and being exposed to speakers and learning so many aspects, whether it's financial or confidence or leadership or positivity or happiness. That's one of the main things that kept me in coaching for this long, because it's allowed me to work on myself from the inside out. And it's something that's, again, very hard to show y'all because it's been a journey that I've taken every morning. So if you follow me on Instagram, you see every single morning I read. And that's coming from somebody who hates reading. My sister used to literally read front to back of a book in a day, and it was like nothing, where I was the girl that was procrastinating her summer reading book and essay until the last day before school started. So when I was told, if you want to be successful, you need to start reading and listening to podcasts and motivational speakers, I was like, peace. And what happened is the first 3 to 4 months of my business, I did absolutely nothing because I had to get stronger here. And I love that so much about Beachbody because it truly is a transformation from the inside out. The things that you see on the exterior are because I force my challengers to work on their interior, and they don't expect that. But it's been this journey that's helped me get to this place to now embrace therapy. I think all of us can admit, especially through this quarantine, that we've sat a lot more in our thoughts and reflected on what's going well and maybe not so well in our life, in our career, with our finances. Like this pandemic has had to wake us up to a lot of those things that maybe we pushed down. And I feel really grateful for the personal development I've done with coaching over the past years. I mean, everybody from Darren Hardy to Gary Vee to Rachel Hollis. I've seen these speakers in person, Shauna Core, Brenda Bouchard. I've seen these incredible people in person speaking to my heart. But there's a whole different level of development that comes from the interior when you pursue therapy. And I believe everybody can benefit from it. And I think, I'm going to go through a few tips that have really helped me get to this place. So just to give you a little background, I'm not going to go into too much details, but I grew up with a lot of trauma. And it was something that I didn't know that was not normal. And it started carrying over to my adult life in different relationships, the way I was approaching things. And it's this baggage that all of us have from our different experiences in life that I was carrying around that was holding me back, because it was that thing in the back of my head, like when I go to sleep at night, that I would get really sad about, or that I would really struggle with, or that I would develop anxiety from. And it was holding me back with my team and my business and my career, not really knowing it, but just because it was living inside me and I wasn't talking about it. So through reading every day for the past almost 6 years, and through going to these different events and seminars and digging deep on like what I wanted and why I wanted it, I started having these conversations within my team, like the women that I know, love, and trust that don't judge me. Like we have these open conversations in our accountability groups, not just about losing weight or getting healthy or being consistent, but actually deep conversations about meaningful life stuff like therapy. And so this conversation started happening over the winter, and there was a lot more openness to the idea of pursuing therapy. And people started saying, yeah, I go. Yeah, I find so much um, improvement in my life by doing this, or this is really helping me through this time. And so I had seen different family members of mine also experience that. And so I just knew in my heart of hearts that I wasn't going to heal this baggage on my own, right? Like, we go to an accountant for help with our taxes. We go to their doctor for help with issues medically. We go to a lawyer if we need legal advice. So why would we not go to a professional for our mind, the most powerful thing that helps us decide everything in life? So I opened that conversation up to my team and I said, you know what, this is important. This has been holding me back for a long time and it's time to address it. So the first thing I want to tell you is, when you're considering therapy, is don't wait until a crisis. Obviously, this pandemic has been a massive crisis in many different ways through our lives. And I'm so grateful I started therapy in February, not knowing what was to come in March and fully. But you don't have to wait until something really bad happens. It's not like you're going to therapy because something is wrong, but because you want to be a better human being, because your brain deserves the same work that your muscles do. And the way you think about things is how you take action, how you make decisions, and how you live your life. So you don't have to wait for something really, truly bad to happen to actually work on yourself, right? Like, you don't have to wait till you're 50 pounds overweight to show up and work out every day. It's the same thing with your mind. It wasn't like something truly bad happened. I mean, I had a lot of experiences that were really bad that I just kind of put to the back and said, well, that's just how this is. But really, in conversations, I was like, but this isn't how I want to continue. So for me, it was a decision that had let piles of baggage come up over time, and I needed to finally face those gremlins. If you've ever listened to Brene Brown, she says, shine the light on the gremlins. Don't keep pushing them away, because they're going to keep coming up in your life. So you don't have to wait till a crisis to pursue therapy. And it doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you either. Like, we're all complex humans with lots of emotions and stresses and worries and anxieties. That is normal. So don't wait till a crisis for you to consider it. The second thing I'll say is, and this was something I heard from one of my teammates, don't expect that the first therapist is going to be your person. I got really lucky, and I literally just did a search online for somebody in Philadelphia. I wanted a therapist that was similar life age as me, because I felt like you can relate to the same people that are the same season of life as you. So I picked a woman that was, in her 30s, that would get what I'm going through in this season of life. And we just hit it off. It was in close proximity to me. It was easy to park there, and they took my insurance. That was literally my criteria. I did a quick Google search and I went, and I just had an open mind. But for some people, it takes a couple people for you to figure out who you're going to vibe with. So don't be scared of like, oh, well, that person just wasn't for me, so I'm never going to go to therapy again. Like, that's not what this journey is about. It's about changing your life from the inside out. So you want to make sure that person is somebody that you can connect with and that they really get you. For me, I'm really grateful that my therapist and I kicked it off right from the beginning, and she's been so helpful. The third thing I'll say is, it's going to be a journey just like fitness, right? You're not going to go in for one session and just be cured, just like you're not going to show up for one workout or eat one salad and drop the 20 pounds. It's a journey and a process over time that you have to be committed to. I've personally been going every 2 to 3 weeks for the past 6 months, and it's been so good for me. I just kind of felt like every week was a little bit too much, that I felt like twice a month I could really take what I'm learning from each session and apply it, so that I'd have time to process and figure out how I'm going to take the things that I'm learning and start making changes over time. For some people, it's once a month. You can decide with your therapist what works for you, but every 2 to 3 weeks works for me, and it's been this consistent thing. And sometimes I go in and I'm like, I don't really know what I'm going to talk about, or I don't really have like an issue I want to bring up, or I don't really know what to say. And it's their job to help you realize what you need to be talking about, what is worrying you, what are the things that are on your heart that you want to improve upon. So don't feel like you need to come to the table and like spew all these things out, that it's going to be a process. And each time I'm very surprised that it's something new, something different, that I find a new connection or a new pattern that I didn't even realize about myself, that she's helping me understand and helping me develop tools to better communicate, to better share my feelings, to create boundaries on what's important to me and why. For me, running a business and having a full-time job and also having a social life and wanting to find that person and create a family, like that's a lot of things at once. And so I'm a big giver, and I've learned how to create boundaries on all those things to better align to what I want and why I want it. And it's just been so good. And then the last thing I'm going to tell you is it's going to be emotional. So make sure that when you schedule your time, like I also looked for a therapist that would do Friday nights or Sunday nights. And I was going Sunday nights pretty regularly when I was still going into the office and working like a normal human. And that worked well for me because it wasn't like I was rushing from work to get there and I didn't have time to process. Like I picked a Sunday like 4, so I'd have time to kind of think beforehand, maybe what I wanted to bring up or issues I'd experienced the past 2 weeks, so that I kind of had time to process then before my week started, and I could go into a new week with more clarity and more focus on what was important to me and why. So I'm talking openly about this because I believe that everybody can benefit from it. And I think that our society is normalizing it more, that mindset work is just as important as your exterior physical health, right? Or your nutrition, that our mind is like the most powerful organ in our body, and it's important to take care of it. So maybe you've had a therapy experience before. Feel free to email me back and let me know how that's worked for you, because this is something I'm really, really passionate about that I was so skeptical of before. But it really took my team saying, hey, like, it's okay to work on these things. It's okay to talk about the things that are bothering you, even if your friends tell you to stop talking about it or just get over it. Those things that you keep thinking about are important to vocalize and have like a third party that's not judgmental whatsoever, that you can just be your true self with. And that's what I love so much is, there's certain things that you're going to share with certain people, and sometimes that's hard to figure out, as especially we're living in quarantine and pandemic when everybody has their own stresses and worries and anxieties. It's been really great to have that navigation system to know how to best process things that work for me. So happy to answer any other questions you guys have about therapy. Like I said, it's been an incredible 6 months. I recommend it to everybody. I think we can all benefit from it. And I hope this was helpful for y'all.